What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to bring you NFL prediction video on star running back Josh Jacobs. I believe the free agent back will go with the Baltimore Ravens this offseason. Before we get started, guys, let me know in the comment section down below which team do you want to see Josh Jacobs on. I think it'll be the Ravens, but there definitely are other options out there for him. So let's get into it, guys. So, as we all know, the Ravens need a star running back. They drafted J.K. Dobbins a couple years ago. Didn't quite pan out. Good, talented back from Ohio State, had some good showings, had some great games. Just long term, he couldn't keep his health right enough to stay on the field. Injuries happen to him, seem like all the time, every year. So I think Dobbins' time with the Ravens will be cut short, or won't be extended at least. He spent a nice amount of time there, but wherever he does go, it'll be a nice 1 year deal somewhere, a nice prove it deal, and he could show improve, and I hope he does. But I think it's time the Ravens are definitely done. Now on to the Ravens' new back that they could get. Obviously, they have a bunch of options: Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, who's the betting favorite. If I'm not mistaken, I think the betting favorite for Barkley is the Texans. They did a video on that about a month ago. Pollard, I think, stays with the Cowboys. So I think it's down to Henry, or is down to Josh Jacobs as the star backs go. And I think Henry has so many options. The Eagles, Cowboys, the list goes on. That I think Henry goes somewhere else. And plus, they don't really need Henry. They have a big bruising back all already in Justice Hill. They can bring back Gus Edwards if need be. But as of right now, though, they do have two running backs on their roster, and that's Mitchell, who missed the playoff run last year, who showed good spurts, some good speed, some good movement, some good touchdown plays, and then you have Justice Hill, who I said earlier, who's still on the roster, pretty physical back, pretty strong back. So they let go of. Well, they're gonna have a free agent of J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and Dalvin Cook. So I think all three of those guys walk. I think if anyone was to return it would be probably Gus Edwards. Excuse me, but I think he does walk as well. So you have a guy like Josh Jacobs, who's a guy they don't have on their roster right now. Mitchell is not Jacobs. Justice Hill isn't Jacobs either. Jacobs still a do-it-all back, not as dynamic as some other guys around the league, but can do it all, can catch, can move with the ball in his hands, make a little guy miss here and there. He's not like I said, a do-it-all dynamic back like a Kamara, like some of the other guys. He's definitely, like a Saquon Barkley, but he can get the job done in both the air and on the ground. Well, at least catching the ball from the air, then running from the ground as well. You know, uh, but as far as the Ravens, I think he would be a better fit than Henry right now. He's younger. Henry's what, 31, 32, 30, whatever he is. Josh Jacobs, 26 years old, should be around his prime years now, but you do have some injury concern with Jacobs also, who's been banged up about every year of his career, but you can lessen the load on him as well by using guys like Mitchell, by using guys like uh, Justice Hill. Those two guys will come in handy, keeping a guy, even if you substitute, and if I am wrong, you keep a guy out, you keep Jacobs out, he goes somewhere else, and then you bring in Henry, who, as I said, is a betting favorite for Ravens, and a lot of Raven fans want him. You can use the same terminology. Keep Henry healthy, or keep running backs X healthy by using Mitchell, by using Hill. You don't have to run your guys way in the dirt from week 1 to week 17, 18. You can definitely take some time, not give them games off, but give them time off, give them breaks, and that's my biggest critique on the Niners as well with Christian McCaffrey. Give them time off. You don't have to abuse them. The games aren't that close all the time. You don't have to have an RB1 in all the time. But if you do, it's good to have a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Don't get me wrong. It's also good to have a guy like Josh Jacobs too. Who can definitely who led the league in led the league in rushing a couple years ago. I think can do it again, especially under a good scheme, a good system like the Ravens, who's known for running the ball. I think a young back who has some time still. Henry, like I said, he just concerned me with the age, but also has other options too. And that's the thing with Henry. So many teams want Henry who already have an established back. You could still pair Henry with someone else who never. Henry, who's always been an RB1, never been paired with anybody else. I guess you could say his best RB2 was probably Spears from last year. Tajay Spears, or Tajay Spears, whatever his name is. Forgive me for messing his name up if I mess it up. But Spears is probably the best RB2 Henry's had in his whole career with Tennessee Titans. So it's like, I could see Henry and the Cowboys still keeping Pollard and bringing on Henry. I could still see Henry going to the Bills with James Cook. I could still see Henry going to the Eagles and them keeping, some of their guys, Kenneth Gainwell and those guys. So it's like, but Jacobs, I think if you bring on Jacobs, he's going to be your main back for most of it. You're going to have, some complementary pieces as well. And that's where you have Hill and Mitchell at. But the running back market is so iffy. You never know what might happen. That they could end up with Austin Eckler or somebody if you're the Ravens. So it's very tricky to deal these running backs. The value's so weird. The value's so wonky. And also with Josh Jacobs being so young, it's like, okay, what does Jacobs want as far as a contract goes? Obviously, everyone wants long term and all that stuff, but will the Ravens want to give that? Or would they rather go short term 2 year deal with a guy like Henry instead of a 3 year, 4 year deal with a guy like Jacobs? So just depends on how the market turns out, man, because you can definitely find a running back in every draft class that can give you some good burns. So it's confusing. It's interesting. It's definitely a big guessing game with all these running backs. Everyone's so good. Everyone's so talented. It depends on what ends up shaking out. What shakes out at the end of the day with all these guys and what they want contract wise, what city they want to live in, what state, taxes, all that stuff. So we'll see where it goes. But as far as the Ravens free agency plan, I think they're set up for a pretty good run this offseason. Right now, doesn't look too hot. They don't have a lot of cap space, but they can make a good cap space haul by a couple things. They can post June 1st cut Ronnie Stanley, star left tackle, been around for a while for the Ravens, just hasn't panned out long term. The injuries are always weighing on him. Always super talented. Like I said, if he's healthy, he's one of the better left tackles. Just can't stay healthy. So they post June 1st cut him. They'll save about 15 million, have 11 million in dead cap, but I think they'll be fine. You could restructure a guy like Marlon Humphrey to bring in space. They can save about $8 million there restructuring Marlon Humphrey, restructuring Lamar Jackson's contract. They'll save 11 million, and then you restructure Marcus Williams. They'll save about 7 million. Then lastly, you want to restructure Mark Jacobs as well. Excuse me, Mark Andrews. You can save about 5 million. So all those together will give you a nice amount. I think the Ravens going into the offseason have about 7 million. All those moves there added up, they'll give them a nice amount to really make some noise. Sign a guy like Jacobs or Henry or Eckler, whoever they deem fits their scheme the best or fits their team the best. They sign that running back. Then you bring in a weapon like Kendrick Bourne, a weapon like Rashawn Jennings from the Niners, a weapon, Rashid Shaheed, who knows, maybe bring back Hollywood Brown. So those guys and more could all be in play to bring in for the Ravens. So I think the Ravens will make some noise this offseason. But first off, you got to bring in a star running back and probably bring in another receiver as well to replace OBJ. They signed him to a 1 year with $13 million deal. Didn't quite pan out. The team success was there. OBJ success solo personally, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. So I don't think he returns to the Ravens. Shoot, Odell could be out of the league for for all no intents and purposes. He could be out of the league as far as just not having the juice still. So but he did get open in certain plays. Just the ball couldn't find him. So but he did have his spurts where he did look good as well. So we'll definitely see with OBJ. But I think his experiment with the Ravens was a 1 year thing. I don't think he returns. So you try to look at who fits best with Zay Flowers and Bateman. So like I said, Kendrick Bourne makes sense. Rashawn Jennings, Rashid Shaheed, guys like that because I think the stars, Michael Pittman, T Higgins, those guys are staying put unless you're going to trade for them, which the Bengals trading Higgins to the Ravens will be crazy. So I doubt that'll happen. Michael Pittman, I think he stays. So it's like, where do you go? Mike Evans, I think he goes to Houston or stays in Tampa. So it's like they had to go secondary. route as a receiver goes. And I think a Kendrick Bourne will be a good option to replace OBJ, pair him up with maybe a Zay Flowers, Bateman, or maybe even bring back Hollywood Brown, who's a free agent. Him and Lamar are reportedly still close. You bring him in, I think that'll make sense as well. So, with all that said, I do believe that the Ravens will be in good shape to add some good talent. Just depends on who wants to come there and how everything shakes out. So, all in all, I think Jacobs does go to the Ravens, but we'll see. Definitely could be wrong there. A bunch of running back options, a bunch of talented guys, more guys to be cut as well. So we'll see. We'll see where everything goes. But that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.